Yes.
I spent 26 years in the tax office as an auditor, reviewing thousands and thousands and thousands of AUSTRAC reports, and they were the mother lode of information to back up tax audits against evaders.
Yeah.
There are moves to make transactions of $10,000 and above illegal in Australia in cash. What's your feeling on that?
Well, they shouldn't be illegal, but they should be reported. I mean, if people want to have a bet at the races or at the casino, or they want to buy a car, exchange money for bullion, as long as they're reported.
Look, it's an arguable position. Yeah. I appreciate it. It's legal tender.
Would there be many cash transactions above 10,000?
Mate, I go to the car auctions. I go to the car auctions regularly,
right.
And the number of times I have seen people peeling off thousands and thousands of dollars to pay for a vehicle that they've purchased is remarkable. And I'm not sure whether the motor dealers, the auction houses, are obliged to report those transactions or not.
Entities. No, it's basically financial institutions, gambling companies and bullion dealers. They're the main ones, but you can self-report. Most organisations of any size should have AUSTRAC,
processes,
etc., etc. But if you walk into a political party with 100,000 in cash,
you're asking for oversight.
Well, if you don't sort of say, mate, where did this come from? Do you mind I feel I should report it to AUSTRAC? If you don't do that, well, hello.
Look, I'm always willing to consider alternative possibilities. Now, there could have been a range of fundraising activities carried out by relevant individuals. And small donations added up to a substantial amount of money. I'm not ruling that possibility out, but certainly a donation of that amount should have been reported. But look, as a person who was involved in investigating transactions, I'm kind of the view that cash, although it used to be king, I'm not sure that it's appropriate in the current environment for it to remain.
Look, it's not a ridiculous idea, because everyone's got credit cards.
Absolutely.
Everyone's got we don't even use checkbooks anymore, so everyone's got access.
Except if you're in America.
Except if you're in America. Everyone's got access to credit facilities that don't require them. It's not Zimbabwe where we've got to have bucket loads.
That's true.
Car full of Zimbabwean dollars.
And you need 2 bucket loads by the afternoon.
Correct. And 4 by dinner.
That's great.
That's what happens,
mate. So. Thanks for your time.
Mate,
Good on you.
Cheers.
Bye. Stephen Conroy, mate, you are...
Whenever a man deserves torturing, it is that man right there. Okay? Torture him more.
You two guys are amongst my favourite either ex-politicians or close to politicians. This is the first time I've had a chance to chat with you since the election. I did sit on the Saturday night. Was it Saturday night?
It was a Saturday night.
And Marvel.
I vaguely remember it.
That's right. Commiserations.
Trying to blank it out.
Commiserations on the outcome, mate. But look, I've been a Conservative voter most of my life, not always. However, I want Scott Morrison to get his finger out and do some stuff for the country. That's
well, it would be good if he had an agenda, but if he I think he even announced in the last couple of days he's planning on having one.
Okay, that would be nice.
Great before the election to know what it was.
That would be nice.
But no, look, it was obviously a very difficult night for Labor that night, and particularly as it ran against all expectations on polls.
Absolutely.
Look, Morrison ran, a great campaign. He obviously touched a chord that Labor couldn't.
That's true.
And we paid the price of probably underestimating him.
Mate, I volunteered for a Liberal candidate in the seat of McNamara, which used to be Melbourne Ports, I think. And on the day, the number of volunteers and people who were taking leaflets for the Greens led me to believe that the Greens were going to win that seat. And
you can never judge everything purely on who takes what and how to vote cards.
That's true.
But look, the electorate of Macnamara realised it had a fabulous new candidate in Josh, and they saw a swing to him, which was great to see. He has got a big future in Canberra.
All right. I thought Kate was pretty good too, but
look, Josh was a proven performer in Caulfield when he ran in the States. He got a big swing to him, and he showed his mettle in an election where we were meant to, particularly in Victoria, get big swings to us, and we didn't. Josh saw a decent swing to us on primary vote, which is a tribute to his work.
Mate, I have been a viewer of events involving China for 30 years, and I'm remembering a Lateline episode about 15 or 20 years ago, it might have been 15 years ago, when Richard Armitage was being interviewed about the state of the world at the time, who was Colin Powell's Assistant Secretary of State, I believe, and he made some comments on Lateline that night which caused me extreme concern, because he said eventually a time will come when Australia has to decide who their friends are.
I know Richard. I've met him on many occasions. He's a very thoughtful man, and he if you look at those statements now, 15 years down the track, you can certainly see that there are difficult times ahead for Australia's relationships. We all hoped, the world hoped for the benign rise of China.
I agree.
It's China that are demonstrating that their rise isn't benign.
I agree.
We've got to watch what happens in Hong Kong. I fear for where Hong Kong's going to end up, and I hope that the people of Hong Kong are able to work their way through this. I mean, I'm concerned that it's gone on for a long time without them actually stating what they want.
Indeed.
I think that would help. Some would say it won't matter, the Chinese don't want to negotiate. But you won't know unless you try.
I visited Hong Kong about 3 years ago for a week, and I came back to Melbourne and said, Hong Kong reminds me of Melbourne, except that the buildings are taller and there's a lower proportion of Chinese people in Melbourne, but it is a powerhouse of a place, and it's going to be a battle of wills to see what's going to happen.
You have
here.
to admire the courage of all of the population of Hong Kong at the moment. The world's second biggest superpower is staring at them and pointing at them hard, and they're not to be cowed.
You don't want to bet against the PLA though, mate.
Look, they proved in Tiananmen Square that they are prepared to go above and beyond. In an unfortunate way. I hope we do not see anything like that ever again.
Mate, thank you very much for your time. Have a good night, mate. See ya.